This is Luther Palmer, and welcome to One Episode Stand, a podcast where Jobina, Scott, and I help you figure out what new shows to watch.
Or maybe reconsider a show you've recently seen. For each and every podcast episode, we watch and discuss the series premiere of a brand new television show. Then, like the Rolling Stones we are, we move on to the next show.
We love them and leave them. We hit it and quit it. We smash and dash. Everyone is out here having one-night stands, and we are having one-episode stands, but we do it for you, the listeners.
And we're going to try our best not to spoil anything, but I'm telling you right now, we making no promises.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I did a few calisthenics this morning.
Okay.
I did a couple jumping jacks to wake up my brain.
Jumping jacks. Okay.
Good old-fashioned jumping jacks.
What's your go-to workout thing? Is it Pilates? Is it yoga?
Yes, I've done it. This is kind of like me and fad diets. So I've done it. I have done it all. Now, there was a time where I really liked Bikram yoga.
Oh.
I thought it was going to stress me out.
Right.
But if I would get in there and just get accustomed to breathing in the hot air, I could really do it. And you could see the benefits so quickly. Like, I was like, I am melting in here. This is a good thing.
But isn't Bikram the guy that got in all that trouble?
Yes, I was going to say that. I watched the documentary and I had to stop going. I was like, oh no, this form of yoga was used to abuse people.
Right.
So, but mostly, honest to goodness, it's for me, it's the Peloton tread. I just get on my Peloton tread. Yeah.
Oh, Peloton tread, not the bike.
Yeah.
No, why not the bike?
I was not going to get on board. I don't like biking. I don't want to sit there and move my legs. I just
wait.
Don't.
But you're on a treadmill. Like it's also moving your legs.
You're walking. Like I feel like your whole body gets to get involved. The bike, I can't get into it. But I also love the classes. So the Peloton tread is for me.
The Peloton tread. I don't think I know anyone with the tread. I mean, the biking became like when COVID hit. Like
it was so popular.
It became
everybody.
all the rage. Huh.
Yes.
Now, are you what do you call it? Are you a solo workout person? Do you like working out by yourself in the comfort of your home?
Yes. I'm not going to a class. I'll go to a gym with a trainer. I'm good with that. But I don't want anybody looking at me while I'm exercising. Because number one, I am not doing it quite right. I don't believe. And so I don't want to be judged. I just want to be in here doing the best I can.
Well, see, now I love the classes, and I'm looking at everybody. I'm looking at everybody.
That's why I can't go.
But see, here's the thing. I don't judge, right? I look because I enjoy the moral support of other people just trying. Like, just trying.
Just try.
And some people try, and sometimes people don't try. They're tired. I don't mind it. I'm not judging anyone. I'm not looking at anyone's like, oh, their form is terrible. Nothing. Like, we're all here. We're all trying. I appreciate the collective and the struggle together. Right. There's a camaraderie. So I love that.
Well, I have to tell you this really quickly. I know we're not here to talk about exercise, but when I was doing Bikram yoga, like their whole thing was don't sit down. Don't lay down.
Okay.
Because you steal energy from other people. And they're like, whatever you do, don't leave. Like, if you can't do it, just stand still. So I'm in this class, and this man, who I'm also looking at, is really struggling. Like, he is struggling. You can tell he's about to bolt for the door. So he leaves, and the instructor is like, hold the pose. Goes and gets this man, poor man, and makes him come back.
What?
So, this is a little bit different than the group dynamic you described.
See, this is what's wrong with yoga for me. Like, I love the physical practice of yoga, but all this
awesome.
extra, don't leave, you're stealing energy from other people. I just, y'all can miss me with that. Like, I'm good. I'm completely good. Okay, so we are actually here to discuss a television show.
Yes, indeed.
We are here to talk about From Scratch.
Yes. Okay, so From Scratch, of course, you know, you're going to find this on Netflix. It's a 1-hour drama. It's set in both Florence, Italy, and Luther. I'm sure you missed this. Houston,
No.
Texas.
Are you serious?
Come on now.
And now that you're saying it, I do remember them being in Texas. I did not connect the fact that they were in Houston. Okay. All right. So maybe she knows.
You know how that warms my heart.
Right. Maybe she knows Mo.
Maybe she does.
Okay. What did you know about the show before we picked it for this episode?
Well, of course, Netflix was telling me I was going to love it. So I was seeing all the advertising about the show. I, of course, know who Zoe Saldana is. She's, amazing actress.
Did you know that she was 44 years old?
Stop it.
And she's playing a character in this movie that is in her gap year between college and law school. And she's 44.
Wow.
I mean, is that impressive? Is that what you would you say about that?
Yeah, I would say that it's impressive to be cast as a college student when you are 44. I don't know that anybody's going to cast me as a college student.
I mean, hey, makeup can do wonders. But I looked it up. I looked it up, and literally 20 years ago, she starred opposite Nick Cannon in Drumline, where she played a college student. Wow. So she's had 20 years of being a college student. That's something.
She's still getting the role. Go, Zoe.
That's something. I mean, that's the only thing I knew about this show was that Zoe Saldana was in it. Mm-hmm. So what would you say the show is about now that we've seen it?
Obviously, the show is being billed as a love story. So it is about falling in love.
Right. Yeah.
But I think it's also about her pursuit of finding her passion and herself. She's basically been pursuing a path that her family wants for her that is traditional and acceptable. And she is trying to see if a career in art is something that's really for her. She's testing her strength as an artist. She's trying to see if she can do this professionally.
Yeah, I would say so. I'm going to take you on a journey to how I found out what the show was about. Because I watched the show, and I was about 15 minutes in, and she said she had introduced herself as Amy to everyone. And then later we learned that her name is actually Amasha. And to me, this struck me as strange. And to me, there were some implications to a person who has a clearly black name who then decides to go by a clearly white name. So I went looking to see, I wonder if the author of this or the writers of this movie are black, right? Do they understand what the implication of this is? And I find out that it's actually a book. Like this story actually comes from a book written by a black actress in Hollywood.
Okay.
Did you know that it was coming from a book?
It's a memoir?
Yeah, so it's called From Scratch, a memoir of love, Sicily, and finding home. And her name is, let's put some respect on her name. Her name is Tim Belloc. So I watched this interview of her talking about this book, and she talks about how the book is actually a mix of recipes alongside with their love story. She falls in love with a chef, and then the chef's ultimate death from cancer.
Oh, no. So this is a tragedy.
This is a tragedy, and I didn't know that. And I was a little bit conflicted about whether or not we should sort of spoil that for our listeners. But because it's a book, I think most people know
available.
that. Yeah, it's publicly available. But I certainly went in, I had no clue. But you remember in the opening scene how she sort of looked sadly at this image of him, the guy that she falls in love with.
Yeah.
And then
she's in the kitchen. She's kind of preparing food and looking at the image.
So they were sort of hinting to some eventual tragedy, and he dies of cancer. So, and that sort of that affected my perspective of the show as I watched it.
Well, good thing I didn't know that. Going in, I had no idea.
So let's talk about how the show looks, sounds, and feels.
I love the way it looks. It is so bright and beautiful, and like there's tons of color. Yeah. You're getting not only the story, but you're getting these beautiful images of Florence. I think it's absolutely beautiful. It feels like, I don't, again, like this whole foreshadowing of a tragedy, I would never have guessed because it feels really happy and bright.
It does. Yeah. I notice more when I watch shows and movies, the colors. It's just not something that I had thought about before, but in our discussions with you on this podcast, you're very in tune to the colors and the brightness. So I also said, oh, wow, this is a very bright show. And to your point,
we're out of the darkness.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, so they didn't allude to any sad. Other than that first scene, they didn't allude to any sadness because of the brightness of the show. I also noticed some men's fashion in the first episode.
Okay, I did not.
They're in Italy. So the one guy that she met, what was his name? The rich guy. Giancarlo. He had on the full suit with the super tight pants and the high water, like his full ankle was out in the dress shoes. And I just said, like, good for him. Like, I'm happy that he's comfortable in that. I that's just not for me.
You've never done the ankle out look.
I can't do ankle out. I can't. I have adopted the slim fit. I was a slow adopter, but I adopted slim fit. I haven't adopted skinny jeans. I'm not there yet. And I can't do the high. Like I just saw a guy 2 weeks ago. He had on a suit and he had on socks though, but his pants were a good 3 inches above his ankle. And he had on dress shoes.
Is it that you perceive it to be unprofessional? It just looks odd. You don't want to see a man's ankles. Like, what?
No, I don't. And look, like I said, God bless Giancarlo. It looked good on him. It's just not for me. I'm just not super trendy and super stylish, so I don't do well chasing modern trends. Although that trend's probably 10 years old now. It's just not for me. It just missed me. And I've always been like this. It's not even like, oh, I'm getting old, so I can't keep up with these young kids. No, I have never been the one to chase trends.
Oh, I mean, this is probably very predictable. I am the exact opposite. When I was growing up, every trend that was out there, I was going to pursue it. I had an asymmetrical bob. Like, let's get I did the acid wash jeans. I had stirrups. Like,
oh, see, I didn't have any of that.
If it was in style, I was going to pursue it.
The one thing I think I did this 1 or 2 days at school. You know how we used to roll up the cuff of our jeans? Oh, yeah. Like, yes. I might have done that a couple days in like the 6th grade, but it just wasn't, even that just was too far.
Step too far. Okay.
The last thing I'll mention is, in terms of look, sounding, and feel, he cooks 3 or 4 times. And the show is about him, and he's a chef. Like, this is his passion. And I guess, and this gets to the next question that we usually ask, is what do we want to see more of? I want to see more of him being a chef, and I almost wanted to see him describe the decisions he was making in the kitchen, why he cooked certain dishes. And I think this is an artifact of the cooking show era that we're in. And yes. I'm not a big cooking show guy, but I've seen him a few times, so I sort of want context when I see a person who's passionate about cooking. Do you watch cooking shows? Is that your...
I do.
Oh,
now I don't ever do any practical application of what I'm saying. It's purely entertainment. But I kind of like I'm not so much into a show that's just going to show me how to make a rack of lamb. Like, I want it to be fun.
Right.
So I like Beat Bobby Flay. Have you seen this show?
I think, what is, I mean, I've seen them all, I think.
So the concept, of course, is that Bobby Flay is this amazing chef and that he is unbeatable. So 2 renowned chefs will come together and Bobby will pick an ingredient and he'll say, like, look, okay, the star of your dish has to be Brussels sprouts.
Right.
So they will make a dish, compete with each other, and eliminate one or the other based on the dish. And then the person who wins gets to compete with Bobby, but the twist is that they pick the thing they're best at cooking.
Yes,
I love it.
Yes, I've seen it. I've seen it. And now, you've never ever tried to make anything that you've seen?
One time. One time I tried to make this like Moroccan soup and it was delicious.
Okay.
But of course I kind of failed to write down the recipe. I just had it in my head that it was a few seasonings and a few ingredients. and over time, I can't recreate it.
So it sounds like you're creative in the kitchen, though. If you didn't have a recipe, it sounded like you just was like a pinch of this, a dash of this.
Yes.
Is that your flow in the kitchen?
That's my flow. Like, I'm famous for my macaroni and cheese. And people are like, write down the recipe for me. And I'm like, I'm not able to do that. I can tell you the cheeses that I put in general, but that's it.
So do you make it different every time?
It's roughly the same because I have the feel for it, but I'm not measuring.
You're not measuring?
No, I'm
that just blows my mind.
In those ingredients. Yeah, no, I'm not measuring anything.
So here's the thing. I can follow a recipe. So I can cook a handful of dishes, but I will follow the recipe to a T. Like I will be a very exacting. I don't know my way around the kitchen enough to not measure. I'm just not there. So what else? Oh, let me shout out real quick. I have a friend, Bryn Herrera. She has a show called Culture Kitchen. It's on Clio TV. It's a great show. She does, I think she is Cuban and she does she calls herself Afro-Latina. And I have watched that show a couple times, and she has her mom on there sometimes. So that's a great show. I wanted to shout her out.
Culture Kitchen.
Kitchen. What else would you like to see more or less of?
I mean, I think it depends on where the story goes, but I'd be interested to see like more of her family dynamic because it's interesting, right? Like she spends a lot of time talking to her sister in the show.
Right.
And then they clearly have a close relationship. Like she's able to speak her mind when she speaks to her sister. Her parents have gone through a divorce. Like there's just some interesting dynamics in the family. So, I mean, if that's a thing, I'd like to know more about her family.
Okay. Yeah. Again, like I want to more about the cooking.
But who knows?
I'm trying to think what else I want to see more of. I want to see more of the friend that she had. The friend told her when she first got there, and they didn't really explain the context of this friend. Like, who is the friend? How does she know the friend? But the friend said, and she was telling, and so Zoe was saying, hey, I'm broke. I just want to see the sights and what other things I can do for free. And the friend said, oh, well, take a lover. Like, that's free.
That's free.
And then she also said, stay away from Americans. If you want to see the city and enjoy the experience, stay away from Americans. So I thought the friend was, and the friend seemed American, right? Did you get the sense that the friend was American?
Yeah, I got the vibe
that had been there for a long time.
She had moved there sometime before, and
Yeah. So I thought she was insightful, and I liked her.
Well, and then maybe the only other thing, I don't know if they're going to develop this, but the roommates seemed like mean girls. Like, I was like, is something going to go down with these roommates? Because now they did not seem like they were her friends. Yeah,
they were just, they played the stereotypical American role of
right.
You know. And the funny thing is, when I travel, I am the stereotypical American. All the things to say about Americans, that's me. Like trying to take your language and make it English. Like more bread, please.
No.
That is fully me. I need everyone to speak English. I don't care what country I'm in. Like
accommodate me.
Accommodate me because I'm American and I'm bringing these US dollars over here. Okay, Jobina, who is having sex?
Well, Zoe clearly is. She has taken a lover or two.
She's having all the sex.
Yeah, so she's with Giancarlo. We have to assume that they're having sex because there are no sex scenes between the two of them.
They didn't show her having sex with him?
I don't think so. Maybe I missed it, but I thought the first sex scene was.
But we have to assume.
Zoe and the chef.
We will assume.
There are two adults in a relationship in Italy in her gap year. I mean, I think there's some signs and signals.
Well, and that raises the question, Jobina, of how many men did you sleep with in your gap year?
How many lovers did I take?
How many lovers did you take?
Here's the thing. I did not have a gap year, Luther, so I did not take any.
Well, let's talk about gap years for a second, because gap year, I don't know anyone who's taken a gap year, and it's just not something that I guess my first thought was, this is something that Black people don't do, but I think it's not about Blackness. I think it's about resources.
Yes. Well, and also I think it's such a luxury. My parents were like, you have 4 years, sister, on us. That's it.
Right.
Like,
get a job.
If you don't get out of college and get a job in 4 years, you are going to be so out of luck. So I could not take a gap year. But I mean, people do. And, there are gap years between college and whatever's next.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard of people taking a gap year between high school and college to find themselves. I think parents are encouraging their kids, like they don't want to waste their resources on a kid who doesn't know what they want to major in
right.
You know, what they want to be, that they can focus in college. So kids are traveling and doing things that I don't know, I never would have.
And we put so much pressure on kids that I'm not mad at a gap year. I mean, even now, so my nephews at their school, they're in high school and they get mental health days like that.
Wow.
Like I'm happy. I mean, I don't know. I'm a mix of the old man who's like, what? Like mental health days?
What do you need that for?
Right. What do you need that for? But then I'm also happy because although I don't think I ever needed a mental health day in high school, I think a lot of other kids did. And I guess I'm happy that's available to them. And I guess I see a gap year as a mental health year. Like take a year, figure things out, reset, relax, no pressure, work at Starbucks, take lovers, do all the things, go to Italy and learn how to draw and do art and come back happy.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and to me, I mean, this mental health day, I'm curious about it. Can they take the mental health day like it's for you? It's not like school is closed for mental health on this day.
No. They can take it whenever they want.
I personally need a mental health day.
Yeah.
I think that's really amazing.
Yeah, they can just stay home and I need a mental health day. And, we kind of joked about it when they first brought it up about, hey, you can just take whatever you want. And then I was thinking, that's the point though, right? That the point is to just, when I'm tired, when I'm stressed, just take it. And I am not, I guess I'm not mad at all. Okay, so she sleeps with Giancarlo. And so here, the dichotomy here is the first guy she meets is Giancarlo, and he's wealthy and he owns a museum and he takes her to all the sites and all the fancy parties. And then the other guy, and I don't even know his name, Lino.
Lino, I was going to say.
The other guy, right? The other guy, Lino, is a chef, and he works hard, and he doesn't have a lot of money.
Every day.
He steals her a bicycle to give to her. Right. So there is this interplay, and then I think also in the story is the concept of love at first sight, because I think he falls in love with her. He
falls for her
immediately. She kind of feels a little bit of spark, and I think warms up to the idea that maybe she did fall in love with him at first sight. Are you a love at first sight person? Are you into that?
No,
not at all.
Because I think love is not at all. Love is really complex. Like you can't really love someone the first time you see them. You don't know them. And for me, it's more than just like a feeling. Love is I don't know. If love is a commitment, how can you fall in love with someone at first sight? So I have liked people a lot the first time I've seen them. I've seen someone and been like, he's for me. Like I'm gonna me and this guy, we're gonna be together, but no love. You?
See, it's interesting that you said love is a commitment. That's an interesting way of thinking about love, and I don't know that I would say that love is a commitment. You're
going to disagree.
Because, and the thing about love is that there are, for as many people as there are in the world, there are as many ideas about love, right? Everyone gets to craft their own meaning of love. And I think I am very much into love at first sight, but with the caveat, I'm a good picker, right? I do well at picking my potential mates. I've never had, it doesn't mean I've been successful with all of them, but I've never had the big, huge blow up and, this person and I, we hated each other,
bad choice.
or like this person was just a bad human. Like I've never had that. So, in all of my long relationships, I knew literally the moment I saw this person, me and this person have an energy. And I guess I would say that love, there's an energy to love. And I could detect that energy very quickly. I don't think others can do it well. I would not recommend it.
It's your superpower.
I would not recommend. And I think it is. I think I'm able to see. Even I would say in what do you call it when it's not romantic? A relationship,
A friendship.
A friendship, but there's a word for it. If it's not romantic,
it's platonic.
Yeah.
Platonic, yes.
Even with platonic friends, even with male friends, I can just immediately see this is a person who is exuding the kind of energy that I am attracted to and that I can bond with. And I can do that literally at first sight.
Now, I will say for friendships, maybe for platonic relationships, I also have that as a superpower.
Okay.
Not for romantic relationships, because I feel like they maybe start with energy, but they have to be sustained with something else. But I will also acknowledge, I know your wife very well, and you are a darn good picker.
Okay.
Yeah,
I feel like you're complimenting me, but you're really complimenting
her. Let's be clear.
No, but the thing is, like, her and I went to high school together. She's 2 years older than me. Like, literally from day one, we knew there was energy. Now, she went to college and dated someone else, and I dated other people, and we got back much later, but we had a friendship and we had a connection, and I liked her immediately. Now, in high school, like I said, she's 2 years older than me. She did not like me immediately in that way. I asked her, so I was a sophomore, she was a senior. I asked her to this banquet that we were having, and she was like, because we would talk every day, we would have all these meaningful conversations. I thought it was going somewhere.
You're like, we are connecting.
And I wasn't even in a rush to ask her to the banquet because I knew, like, she's gonna say yes. Like, we're going to the banquet together. When I asked her, she was like, "Oh no, I just last night I said yes to Demetrius," and I was like. I looked at her like, you didn't know that I was going to ask you to the banquet? She was like, oh, I didn't know. And I'm thinking, aren't we building a future together?
Right. Are we building a life?
Aren't we building a life? So she did not have love at first sight, but I clearly had love at first sight with her.
Okay, I love this story because I know you both and have known you for so long, and I've never heard this story.
Yeah. But it taught me a valuable lesson. And I think Lino in the story, I learned this lesson too. You have to make your intentions known.
Declare early.
Yes,
that's
you have
right.
to say, like, I'm interested in you. I like you. And Lino at some point says, like, we can be great, which I thought was, I thought it was a lot. But then when I reflect upon my own life, like, no, like that's like that. If you feel that and you have that gift of knowing who you're connected with, if you feel that, say it. I think we can be great. Oh. What other themes did you feel like they were trying to introduce in this show?
Well, this is clearly it's an interracial relationship.
Yes.
Right? She is a Black woman in Florence, and she meets an Italian man, and they fall in love. They've definitely got to bridge some cultural divides. Even if she wasn't Black, she's American. Like they're very different people.
That was interesting to me, and her Blackness, I was uneasy about it because, like I said, she comes from means, so she had money. Her father's an attorney. And I think it was more about her being American than her about being Black. And maybe her, but I felt like they were intentional at times about expressing her Blackness, but I'm not sure how much, maybe that will come up in future episodes, how the dynamic of the Black family interacts with him, because I think I also know that he's going to move at some point to I guess to Houston or to America. So that was interesting to me. There's also, her parents were getting a divorce or had recently divorced, and my parents are still together. But what I hear from people is that it sort of impacts the way you feel about love, and it impacts the way you feel about marriage and togetherness. So she is kind of going into this relationship at the same time that her parents are still, like, the wound is still fresh. And I think that might be an interesting thing for them to explore as well, about signing up for a lifetime with someone when you're just seeing your parents' marriage fall apart.
Well, so it's so interesting that you said, like, it has an impact on the children and their perception of relationships, because I have had a friend my parents were also married until my dad passed away, but I had a friend whose parents got divorced, and she said that it changed her ideas about the permanence of relationships.
Right.
So she said, I just decided and believed that relationships aren't permanent as a result of this impactful decision.
Yeah.
And so it impacted the way that she approached dating, like sometimes in a good way, because she was able to let go of toxicity, because she just was able to free herself up to say, like, this doesn't have to be forever.
Interesting. Catch you later.
So, I mean, it wasn't like necessarily a traumatic impact. Right. Save the fact that she says, when she got married, she felt like, now I've got to turn a corner here because I did commit myself to this person forever.
Right.
But yeah.
The other theme that came up was, like you said in the beginning, she was an artist. She was trying to chase her dreams. Her father wanted her to go to law school. And I think a lot of students struggle with this. I'm a professor and I see it all the time. Kids, and I'm an engineering professor, and kids whose parents want them to be an engineer.
Yes,
and I'm looking at them like, these math scores are not. Let's talk about something else.
Trending in the right direction.
Right. But they feel this pressure. And even when I went to college, I remember a lot of kids wanted to be doctors. Their parents wanted them to be doctors. And right around, like, I think organic chemistry, they say, I got to find something else. I need to be a social worker or something else. So she's pursuing art. But the theme, I think, that was weird for me was that she had such a high view of European art. And I'm just thinking, man, as a black kid in America, why are we still promoting European art as the cream of the crop?
It's
it's okay. Like, and then I hate to say this, but the art that she exhibited...
Come on. That's what I thought you were going to say. Her art is trash.
Her art is not even that good.
It's terrible. I thought if you're going to depict this person who is literally going to go off course and maybe not be an attorney.
Right.
Like, their art needs to be good. And she was being affirmed as if it was great, but it was so bad.
And the art that she did was on 8.5 by 11 pages. Like, it wasn't even like a big
postcards.
Yeah. It just... And because she was to tell the full story, she was in Italy to take an art seminar. I don't know if it was 6 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 months, but at the culmination of this process, like, her friends are like, "Oh my goodness, you're a star student and you got more out of this program." And when they showed the art, it just looked basic.
I was confused.
It looked very basic. And I'm not an art critic by any stretch of the imagination. Maybe they pulled some famous art for that, but I was unimpressed. And I felt like she needs to go to law school. Like, you need to go. Right. I side with your parents.
Go back home.
You need to go to law school. If this is the art that you're producing, go to law school.
Yeah, I felt the same way.
What educational components came up for you in this story?
We talked about this a little bit earlier, but for me, it was this concept of the gap year. Like, I'm curious. I really need to do some digging to understand, like, what is the real impact of the gap year on the future of the student?
Right.
Do students actually find themselves? Do they decide on the right path and become successful? Is there a difference between the outcomes of kids who take a gap year after high school versus kids who take a gap year after college?
Right.
Like, that's what I want to know more about, is like, what is the true impact in terms of life direction, successful outcomes of the gap year?
Yes, as a professor, I know that we talk about the idea of retention a lot, right? Like what percentage of students start as freshmen and actually graduate? And I remember, and the universities look for all these markers, right? Like GPA after first year and all these things. Actually, one of the strongest predictors of retention is whether or not the student has parents who finish college, right? Those are the students most likely to finish. But I've never heard any data on gap year. And I wonder if it's hard to get that data because, I mean, if a person takes a gap year, they sometimes don't come back to Yeah. That's interesting. There's got to be data out there on gap years.
Yeah, I want to know more.
Maybe it's just a big party and the outcomes don't matter at all. They come back just as depressed, just as sad. So on the scientific side, the acronym STEM has become popular: science, technology, engineering, and math. So there was a short time period where it became STEAM. and they put an A in there for art, and they were trying to connect art with the other STEM ideas, and that just didn't resonate to me. And I don't think it stayed around. I think maybe they were trying to say that people who are in STEM, there's a natural connection to art. Like I know that music especially can be very technical, right? So I think they were trying to manufacture this intermingling. I just don't think it ever worked. As a mathematician engineer, like I am all for the arts. Like I appreciate art. I want more art. I want more funding for art. I want more bands. I want my kids to take art. So I believe in it. I just didn't see the connection with engineering. I will say I do wish engineers were more creative, and maybe teaching them art will help them to become more creative. But then I also think that teaching them history also helps them to appreciate, how to use or how science and engineering has been used over the years. So I'm not sure that art was more connected to engineering than anything else. That was a weird thing for me.
It felt artificial.
Okay, like I think we've covered the things. Here's the question. Are you going to tune in or are you going to tune out?
Okay, so this was a show that I thought, Netflix told me I was going to love it.
Right. The algorithm said.
They said I was going to love it. And I thought, surely I was. Mm-hmm. And I didn't love it. Like it just didn't come together. I feel like we got to the love too late. They tried too hard to develop the backstory. And yet, this is not going to be a one episode stand for me because they got to the love at the end. Okay. And I'm going to we're going to go on one more date at least. I'm going to try to see if the true love story that, the country seems to have fallen in love with, everybody loves the show. I want to see if the love story that's developed is really worth watching. So not a one episode stand for me. And you. So
it's interesting. And as I was watching this, I felt like so much of this was cliche. I thought her dad was cliche. I thought her American friends were cliche.
When he came through with the cowboy hat, I was just like, come on now.
I thought the fact that, one guy was rich and the other guy was poor was cliche. And I was actually sitting there thinking, I was actually wondering, I wonder if Jobina is into this love story because you're all about the love. But I was wondering,
I love love.
Yeah, but so I was wondering, is her relationship with Lino, is it pulling Jobina in? Because it didn't pull me in. I didn't see the sparks that I think they wanted us to see. I didn't see the natural fit. I didn't see the development of love. I missed all of that. I didn't connect. And, knowing that this came from a book, people always say, oh, the book is better. The book, but a lot of that is because in adaptations, there's not enough time to develop the story as the book did. But they've got, I don't know, this is like 6 episodes, 8 episodes. Yeah, they have time. It just didn't seem like they connected the dots of I still don't know why she loves him.
Right. Why is she into him?
I don't know why he loves her. Other than this love at first sight, I felt immediate connection. But what is it about her that he loves? I don't think he ever expressed that. He just said, we can be something great, but I don't think he ever expressed, I love that you're here pursuing art. I love that you're a woman who's a go-getter.
Right, your free spirit. Something.
Yeah, I didn't see any of that. I didn't see any yin and yang, other than the fact that she's American, he's Italian. I didn't see the personalities and she's bringing him out of his shell or vice versa. I just didn't see any of that.
Yeah, so? This
is the toughest one for me about whether I will watch it again or not. I can't say. I'm gonna say it's a one night stand. I'm gonna say it's a one night stand. I'm gonna leave it alone. And maybe I will lean on you. I will ask you to watch the second episode, and you say, should I watch? It just, and I said, if this is gonna be how it is, I'm just not into it.
So she's gonna be waiting on your text. And
it's just not for me. And I feel bad because everyone loves this show.
People love it. People love it.
And I think people have been in tears. And so that's the other thing about this. People have been talking about, because, we did say he does die in the end, and people said, oh, I was in tears. I'm just, that's not a motivator for me to continue. Like the whole tearful thing. What's that show that everyone cried about every episode? What's that other television show that was on NBC about the dad who died? They adopted the black kid. What? Jobina, the popular show.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, they had adopted this. No, it's new. It just went off. There was a white family that adopted a black child, and the show was about them growing up, and they have flashbacks, and at some point the dad dies.
Oh no, but it's not just the black child.
I know, but that was right. But that was this.
Now, you know what I was gonna say? I was like, Webster.
But that was just one of the aspects of the show. Oh my God. But This Is Us was a tearjerker, and I just wasn't interested in that tearjerker. And I think this show leads to tears, and I'm not in it for that. I don't watch TV. I like to be emotionally taken places, but hearing that a lot of people are crying is not a big motivator for me.
You're out.
I'm out.
I'll let you know how the second episode is. Right. I'm gonna try to hang in there for the love.
All right. Okay, everybody, thank you for listening to One Episode Stand. If you enjoyed this episode, there's a couple things you can do. You can subscribe to the podcast to be alerted when new episodes drop. If you're listening on iTunes, please give us a rating. And you can go to Instagram, One Episode Stand, and interact with us there. The theme music is Freedom by Paradox Hip Hop, and we'll be back next time with another series premiere. Jobina, let's end on this. Every story has a moral. What was the moral of this episode?
So I'm going to say the moral of this episode, and potentially Zoe Saldana's career, is if you find a part you're good at, you can do it for 20 years. Like you can play a college student for your full career. That's the moral of the story.
The moral for me is take a lover. Just take a lover. If you are in a 6-week artistic adventure in wherever they are, take a lover.
It's free.
If you are on vacation with your family and they go to Disneyland and you stay at the hotel, take a lover.
Maybe not at Disney.
All right, y'all. Take care.
Bye, everybody.